Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Raincoast Field School at Home. You're here with me again, Taylor, and I'm so excited to be with you this week. I can't believe that it is already May. 2020 is blowing by, but with the start of May in our local region comes a really special thing. And this thing that I'm talking about is the shorebird migration. So today's lesson is going to be all about these little guys that are traveling such far distances. And right now, in our region, we can see them in their stopover area as they continue their way north. So today's lesson is going to be all about shorebirds. We're really excited to be with you here today. Welcome back to all of our students coming to learn. Hello, all our Wiccaninish kids, as well as our Yuki Elementary. And for everyone else that's in other regions, welcome as well. So enough said there. Let's jump in the field and learn a thing or two about birds.
Oh, hey, Taylor. What are you doing out here?
Hey Amy, I'm out here looking for the migrating shorebirds. I hear they're abundant at this time of year, so I wanted to come out and have a look for myself.
Hey, that sounds great.
Yeah, not bad, hey? Hey kids, did you know that birds are probably the most widespread animal in the world? They are found in almost every region and studied more than any other animal in the world. And they're probably the most encountered wildlife on the planet. Have you guys ever seen a bird before? Ha! That's a dumb question. Of course you've seen a bird before. You probably see a bird if you go outside right now and have a look. Can you say that about any other animal? What do you guys think is the most common bird that you see when you go outside? Share your answer in the chat box. Alright guys, so now that we know that you can find birds in every region and they're super abundant, what is the importance of birds? What happens if we were to wave a magic wand and all the birds on the planet disappeared? What do birds do for our ecosystem? Hey Amy, what do you think the importance of birds is?
Some of the things that I was thinking of include keeping insects under control, pollinating plants and dispersing seeds, helping ecosystems run smoothly by maintaining stable population levels of their prey and predator species. They also provide us with accessible encounters with nature and amaze us with their beauty and song.
Wow, they seem really important. It's a good thing we have a lot of birds around here. All right, so now that we know how important birds are, how many bird species do you guys think are in our region here? Think of all the backyard songbirds, think of the raptors, of the waterfowl, and of all the shorebirds that come. What do you guys think? Type your answer in the chat box. So there are over 250 different bird species in the Clayoquot Sound region.
Wow, Taylor, that's a lot. How do they decide where to live?
Well, Amy, let's think of all the things that birds need to survive. Can you guys help us out? What are all of the requirements a bird needs in its life to live? So all the things that a bird needs to survive, like food, shelter, space, and water, all make up a bird's habitat. So your house is kind of like your habitat. That's where you guys go to get food, water, and shelter. Birds spend a lot of their free time looking for places that have all of these qualities. They fly high above us looking for places to go. Whoa, Amy, what do you think our world looks like from way up there?
If I was way up there looking down, I'd probably say it looks like a map.
I think so too. A bird's eye view map.
Whoa!
So did you ever notice that most maps we have are taken from a bird's eye view? Let's think about what our peninsula looks like from a bird flying overhead. If I were a bird, I would think that this is a pretty great place to stop. Shorebirds like all different kinds of ecosystems. They like wetlands, beaches, and rocky shorelines like lakes, marshy areas, and mudflats. And here we have them all. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Hey, wait a second, Taylor. The birds don't live here all year round?
Well, some do, Amy, but many of the birds here migrate.
But why do they migrate?
Well, Amy, do you remember why the whales migrate?
Oh yeah, they had their babies down in Mexico where it was nice and warm, and then they traveled up north where there was lots of food for them to eat.
Exactly. Birds do the same thing. They migrate to follow the nice weather and the food so that they can have their babies in warm weather and there's enough food for them as well.
Wow, that's so cool. So how do they migrate? How do they know where to go?
Well, Amy, birds travel north-south, and I have something really cool to tell you. Did you know that birds have like a little compass in their head?
Wait, they have a compass that's attached to their head?
Well, not exactly, Amy, but maybe you can tell us a little bit more about their migration and how they know where to go.
Let's do it. Many migrating birds go to the far northern regions of the Arctic in the summer to breed and raise their young. Long summer days in the north produce an abundance of insects and plants for birds and their young to eat. Because this food is not available during cold winter months, many birds end up migrating south to forage in warmer climates. These birds follow migratory routes called flyways between their northern breeding grounds and southern wintering areas. Some birds will breed in the central Arctic and will travel all the way down to their non-breeding grounds near the southern tip of South America, while others will make smaller migrations down to Central America. We see the birds that travel down the Pacific Flyway. In late April, early May, we see adult shorebirds fly fast to get to their summer breeding and feeding grounds. Some of these species have the longest migration known of any bird. They might fly for 40 to 60 hours at a time and get up to altitudes of 3,000 meters. Shorebirds will live on an average between 10 to 20 years and even up to 30 years, so they really get familiar with their habitats. But the really cool thing about birds is how they navigate. They use topographical features like lakes, rivers, mountain ranges, coastlines, and even the sun for guidance. But for some birds, they also have a built-in compass. Researchers have found that there are tiny grains of magnetite in birds' heads just above their beaks. And magnets are the things in compasses that make the index line swivel around as it points to magnetic north. Some birds are able to tune in to specific directions of the Earth's magnetic field, which allows them to know which direction they're going in. Birds recalibrate their magnetic compasses during rest stops. If they don't have long enough rest, then they might get lost. So their rest stops and making sure they have safe habitats is really important. So that's why they love coming here. It's wide open space with tons of food and space for them to rest and fuel up.
So right now in our local area here, we have a very special kinds of birds stopping over while they continue on their migration up north. Hey Amy, do you have any idea what kinds of birds I'm talking about?
I think it might be shorebirds. But Taylor, what makes a shorebird a shorebird? How are they different from backyard birds, marine birds, or raptors?
Well, Amy, it has to do with their adaptation. So why they're able to be in a specific type of area, the shore area, is all based on these special adaptations they have. So how about we do a fun little activity and we build a bird? That way we can look at all of their special body parts, look at some of the sweet adaptations they have, as well as the habitat they live in. Let's do it. So Amy, my question for you is though, how are we gonna show all these adaptations? I feel like if we try and sneak up on a bird to get a really up close look, it's gonna be a little bit challenging.
Well, guys, we are going to turn Taylor into a bird. And we're going to show all the different parts that all the birds have in common. And then we're going to turn her into a shorebird to show all the adaptations that are specific to them.
I'm gonna be a bird?
You're going to be a bird. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, guys, we're going to start by looking at some general bird adaptations that all birds have, regardless if they're backyard birds, shorebirds, raptors, or marine birds. How you doing there, Taylor?
Well, Amy, I'm really cold. I'm running around a lot, but I don't seem to be getting any warmer.
And it's not looking like you're flying very well.
No, I can't fly either. What the heck? I thought I was supposed to be a bird.
Okay, kids, what does Taylor need?
Feathers!
Yay!
Feathers are a unique adaptation found only in birds. All birds have two kinds of feathers. So first, they have their down feathers, which are kind of like a bird underwear. They are the fluffy under feathers, which provide insulation and to keep the bird warm. Their contour feathers are the strong outer feathers that are used for flight. They could also be considered the bird's clothes, as they give the bird their unique coloring. Downy, fluffy feathers won't work for flight, so the contour feathers are a lot stronger.
Wow, Taylor, you look really warm with your down feathers and your nice contour feathers.
I got my down feathers and my contours. I'm ready to fly, Amy.
Let's see it.
All right, Amy, this is it. I can feel it. I'm gonna fly.
That's some good flying there, Taylor. What happened?
It didn't work. I think I ate too much breakfast. I'm too heavy.
Oh, what do we need, kids?
Let's try something else. I think I got something up my sleeve. Let's do it.
Okay, I want you guys to think about how much a bird weighs. Take a guess. How much do you think a bald eagle weighs? Write your answer in the chat box. A bald eagle only weighs between 8 and 14 pounds. That's like a small dog. And it has a 7 to 8 foot wingspan. That's longer than Taylor.
So why can't I fly then? Birds actually have hollow bones to reduce weight. Most of the bird's weight is in the chest and wings because that's where the muscles are. Our bones as humans are not hollow. They're filled with marrow for red blood cell production. Birds only have marrow in their breastbones.
Wow, this looks great, Taylor. What's this addition you've got here?
Well, Amy, these little guys that we have attached to me are representing my hollow bones. So now that my bones aren't solid like a normal human bone, these hollow bones are going to make me fly. I'm going to be so much lighter. Should we try it out?
Let's see. Hey kids, I want you to do what Taylor's doing right now. Stand up and become a bird and flap your wings really, really fast. 20 times in 10 seconds.
This is the hardest thing ever.
How's that going for you, Taylor?
Flying's really, really tiring, Amy.
Are you out of breath?
I'm out of breath.
Okay.
Birds have air sacs that help them take in enough oxygen for rigorous flights. Birds still have lungs like we do, but that isn't enough for their long migrations. Air sacs, which are kind of like balloons, extend their lungs to give them extra air. During inhalation and exhalation, air flows through the lungs and the air sacs to maximize the absorption of oxygen.
Wow, Taylor, you look like a really big bird. What do you have there?
Well, Amy, I have my air sacs.
Air sacs? What are those for?
Well, Amy, they help me retain oxygen, so I'm going to be able to fly so much longer without getting out of breath.
Nice. Okay, so now we've made Taylor into a bird. These are the things that all birds have in common. They have down feathers to keep them warm. Where are your down feathers? Nice. They have contour feathers that are strong and flexible to help them fly. They have hollow bones to keep them light, and they have air sacs to absorb more oxygen. Wow, I'm so glad that you wanted to do this, Taylor. You're so much fun.
Thanks, Amy. I love that I'm a bird right now.
Nice. Let's think about the different shapes of bird wings. Why do penguins have short, stubby wings while an eagle has big, broad wings? Do you think that the wing shape might be related to the bird's lifestyle? So if shorebirds have to migrate really long distances between their habitat where they breed and the habitat where they winter, Do you think that they would do better with short, stubby wings or long, pointed wings? What do you guys think? Write your answer in the chat box.
Amy, check out these sweet wings!
Let's see you fly.
Long pointed wings help shorebirds fly fast over such long distances. Their wings also allow them to do aerial maneuvers to escape from predators. This is it, guys. Claps. Okay. Whoa, Amy. These sweet additions of my long pointed wings make me fly so much faster, and I can go so much longer without getting tired. These things are awesome.
Okay, kids, we need your help. How can we help Taylor and other small birds protect themselves from larger predators? Would small birds have very much luck fighting a big hawk on the beach or a fox on the tundra?
I could take him, Amy.
Okay, kids, we need your help. How can we help Taylor and other small birds protect themselves from larger predators? Would small shorebirds have much luck fighting a big hawk on the beach or a fox on the tundra? What do you think they need to keep them hidden? Write your answer in the chat box.
We need camouflage. So camouflage makes birds less conspicuous. Their brown, black, and white plumage blends in well with their habitats, such as mudflats, beaches, or even grassy tundra. Larger shorebirds like avocets and oyster catchers cannot hide as easily and therefore are not as camouflaged. Hey Amy, can you even see me now with my camo headgear on?
Taylor? Taylor, where are you?
Right here. Get my way. Okay guys, we are gonna do another little experiment to see how water and oil mix together. So, we have our empty jar here. We're gonna pour in some just regular water. Dun, dun, dun. All right, and in this little container here, we have oil. So what do you guys think is gonna happen? Do you think the oil and water are gonna mix perfectly, or do you think they're gonna stay separated? Let's have a little look. And if the oil gets in the water, is it gonna get wet? What does it mean to be wet? Let's pour it in.
Whoa. Looks like it's all staying pretty separated.
Definitely, right? So you guys can see all of those little balls of oil forming. I want a stick to mix it. Maybe we'll just shake it up and see. So it's sitting right on the top. It's definitely not mixing it. And what happens if we mix it? It kind of mixes, but you can still see all the little bubbles of oil. They've just gotten smaller because the oil can't get saturated. All right, so what do you guys do when it's raining outside? How do you make sure that you yourself are keeping dry? Yeah, that's right? So rain gear definitely helps keep us dry. But do you guys think that our rain gear is coated with anything special to help prevent water not to penetrate through?
Yes, your rain gear is treated with a special water repellent, and so are shorebirds' feathers. They actually have oil glands that help keep their feathers waterproof. Feathers are kept clean and smooth by constant preening. Hey Taylor, what does preening mean?
Preening is a bird's way of grooming its feathers to keep them in the best condition. While preening, birds remove dust, dirt, and parasites by using oil from their oil glands found at the base of their tail. So when you see a bird reaching back behind them with their bill, they're actually accessing their oil glands. And the oil is transferred to their plumage, aka their feathers, by their bill. So this cool little experiment showing how water and oil stay separate helps to symbolize what it's like for a bird to get wet. So a bird has those oil glands, right? And it disperses its oil all amongst its feathers to help it repel water so that's not getting wet. Just like in this jar here, how it's staying separate. The water beads will hit the feathers of oil, but they'll be kind of pushed right off instantly.
What have you got there, Taylor?
It's my oil gland.
Wow, guys, this is great. Taylor is almost a shorebird. Can you guys remember all the special adaptations that we've given Taylor to make her a shorebird? Let's list them off all together. Can you remember? Write them in the chat box.
All right, guys, so I have long pointed wings to help me fly really fast and long distances. I have my camo plumage to help me blend in and hide from predators. As well, I have my oil gland to help keep my feathers super clean.
Okay, guys, let's keep going. We're going to make Taylor into a wetland-loving shorebird. Let's talk about some of the specific adaptations that these shorebirds have depending on where they like to hang out and what they like to eat. So let's think about a bird that sits in a tree. How long are their legs? Short or long? Do they need long legs to sit in a tree or fly or walk? How about a swimming duck? Do they need long legs to swim? Okay, and what about if you were running from waves or sinking into deep mud? Would you need long legs then? Think about what humans use to walk around in wet conditions. What can we give to birds to help them walk around in deep water or deep mud?
I don't want to get my feet wet. So shorebirds don't really ever perch in trees. Instead, they walk or roost on the ground. So many shorebirds walk on shorelines or mud to find their food. And having long legs helps them wade through the water or mud. And the length of their legs of each shorebird actually gives us a clue as to where they feed. Hey Amy, check out my sweet long leg edition. Woo! Now that I have really long legs, it's sure easier to wade in deep water.
Let's see. Whoa, what's wrong, Taylor?
Well, Amy, I don't feel very balanced.
Oh, what could we give her, kids?
Toes!
Do you ever wonder what your toes are for? Think about it. Would you be very stable when walking if you didn't have toes?
Wow, Amy, this is so much easier. Check out my big toes. I'm so much more stable. So most shorebirds don't actually spend a lot of time swimming. Therefore, they don't need web feet like ducks would. Instead, they have long toes for stability and walking.
Hey, Taylor, what do you use if you're eating a sandwich?
Definitely my hands.
And what about soup?
A spoon.
Nice. And what about sushi?
Chopsticks.
Yeah.
So shorebirds have different bill lengths depending on where they like to spend most of their time and what they like to eat. Birds use their bills, or beaks, to pick up food, construct their nest, court other birds. Amy, that means flirting. Preening. Amy, that means cleaning. And for defense. So that's a lot of things for your mouth to do. Could you imagine making your bed or washing your hands with your mouth? No, thank you. So I can use my beak to probe deep into the sand to find little critters to eat. Just like this worm over here.
Yum.
So I can also use my beak to flip over rocks and pick up the snacks underneath. Woo! So now we know the specific traits that define a shorebird. We know that they have really long pointed wings, they have their camouflage plumage, they have their really long legs with really long toes. So now that we know all of the traits, we can start using these traits to look at different types of birds. So then we can use them to categorize which is which. So on top of the different types of traits, we can start looking at their coloring, we can look at their size, what their sounds like, and then we can go out in the field and identify some of them. So guys, now that you know some of these traits and know what to look for, we're gonna give you a quick rundown of 3 birds that you might see here during our shorebird migration. Amy, can you help us out with that?
Let's do it. Tofino is such a great stopover for migrating birds because we have such a variety of habitats to choose from. There are beaches, mudflats, lakes, rivers, wetlands, and so much space so they won't be disturbed. Let's look at some specific birds that we often see here and determine some of their adaptations that are best suited for their habitats. These are whimbrels. Whimbrels are a fairly large shorebird with longer legs and a longer bill. Do you think they prefer to probe deep down into the substrate for their food or pick up stuff off the surface? I'll give you a hint. That long bill helps them to get the food that they like. If you said they like to probe deep, then you're right. They use their curved bill to probe into soft surfaces like sand and mudflats to reach invertebrates and small crabs, and they swallow them whole. And those long legs and big toes are great for standing in deeper water. And although whimbrels can hang out on both sandy beaches and wetlands or mudflats, you're most likely to see them at the mudflats. These little guys are sanderlings. They are hilarious. They're a smaller bird with a stout black bill and short little legs. What do you think these guys like to eat? These guys always seem to be found at the water's edge, scurrying back and forth, chasing waves while foraging in groups. Sanderlings have tapered, tweezer-like bills to help them stitch the sand. They like to nab insects on the surface of the soil with their beak. And during migration, they travel in large flocks. You're really likely to see them chasing the waves on the beach, especially at Chesterman's. Lastly, we're going to look at western sandpipers. These guys are amazing, and we get one of the largest migratory populations stopping here in Tofino. While these guys will roost during the high tide on the beaches, especially Chesterman's, they are more likely to be found at low tide on the mudflats. Scientists have done a lot of studying of these guys, and they have found out that sandpipers have adapted their bills to be able to scoop up biofilm. So what is biofilm, you ask? Well, for these migrating shorebirds, biofilm means survival. This superfood offers up to 70% of their energy on their 10,000 kilometer migration. Diatoms, which are a single cell algae and bacteria, produce this fatty acid feast, which firmly sticks to the mud with a mucus coating that resists shifting with the tides. It's kind of like a green, shiny thing that you might see on the surface of the mudflats. A square meter of tidal mud has more calories than a chocolate bar. So you can imagine how much energy that will give a sandpiper. Sandpiper tongues have bristles adapted to scoop up biofilm. It's important that we don't walk on the mud as this paper-thin biofilm will sink. Shorebirds need to feed here or they will starve. So when you're going bird watching, please don't disturb them and make sure you respect their habitat.
Hey, did you guys know that Mark is a total bird expert? He has been studying these little guys for years. I'd love to know what he has to say about this all. Let's go find him. Hey, Mark. Oh, hey, Mark. How's it going today?
Oh, it's going great, Taylor. How'd you get in the boat?
So, Mark, what do we have out here today?
What don't we have? Look at this incredible expanse of eelgrass. These mudflats out here in the Tofino Inlet have some of the largest eelgrass meadows just about anywhere. This is a really unique habitat. If you go up the entire coast of Vancouver Island, you get patches of this type of habitat in a few spots, but most of them are on the east coast of the island. On the entire west coast of Vancouver Island, there's really nothing else like this. This is an amazing habitat filled with some amazing creatures.
Whoa, check out these little guys over here.
Yeah, Taylor. So these are western sandpipers. They're small, very abundant species, but out here we get lots of different kinds of birds. Why don't we cruise around and try and find something else? So, what really excites me about these birds is thinking about the migrations that they go on. So, these little tiny birds, some of them are only like these western sandpipers, they weigh like 20 grams, but they fly like tremendous distances, 10,000, 15,000 kilometers. Other species, not much bigger than the western sandpipers, they'll fly like 20,000 kilometers in a year, every year, year after year. They're just the most magical little creatures, and it's such a treat to be able to enjoy watching them right here in our own backyard. So the thing with shorebirds is most of them are really small, and they like these big, wide open spaces, and so you usually can't get very close to them. So a good pair of binoculars or a spotting scope really makes the experience a lot more intimate. You can get up close and personal with a little bit of optical gear. Whoa, hey, take a look through the scope right now. Look at these western sandpipers running around. Oh, that is so cool. So shorebirds are a pretty large and diverse group. We get lots of different species out here. They really like the sort of coastal wetland ecosystems we have. The beaches, the marshes, the mudflats. This is a great place for shorebirds.
Whoa, Mark, thanks for that great lesson. We'll see you around town.
Hey, Taylor, anytime. We'll see you around town.
Hey, Mark. So guys, we know that we're going to see birds everywhere throughout these flats. However, birds have to face a lot of difficult things in their lifetime. Can you think of any threats a bird might have to go through in its life?
Let's look at all the different places these guys like to live. They thrive in wetlands, estuaries, beaches, and mudflats. Have you seen any shorebirds in your area? What kind of habitat is it? Is there any threat to it being destroyed?
Most shorebirds depend on habitat in 3 different areas: for breeding, non-breeding, and migration stopover sites. So wetlands, beaches, and estuaries like the ones here in Tofino are super important for these stopover sites. However, these places are also very attractive to humans as a source of water or places to build homes. But here in Tofino, we're so lucky that many of our beaches are in protected parks, and the mudflats are protected as an important bird area and the wildlife management area. But what would happen to all the birds if their habitat is destroyed or altered? Can they make new habitats? Is it possible to fix a ruined habitat? Oil spills kill shorebirds and destroy their habitat for many years. This can be small scale, like an old sunken boat in the harbor releasing its fuel, or large scale with big tankers that travel all around the world.
How could disturbance harm a shorebird or a flock of young birds? Can you guys think of some examples of disturbance? Some of the things I was thinking of are planes, people coming too close to nesting shorebirds, boats in the harbor, even pets like dogs running down the beach and disturbing birds. And lastly, we need to pick up garbage whenever we see it littering our wetlands. Birds could eat plastics or get tangled up in discarded fishing line or netting, so let's do our part and keep these areas clean for our birds.
Wow, guys, I'm having so much fun out here becoming a bird expert. I encourage all of you to get out in the field, grab a bird identification guide, and see what you can see. I bet you guys can do it. But remember, respect the wildlife, be really quiet so that you don't scare the birds, and try your best to identify them. What an amazing lesson today. Those shorebirds are such a spectacular species, and it was pretty cool getting to learn a thing or two about them. So guys, that is it for today, but we now have uploaded our Raincoast challenge for this week, so be sure to get online and to do it. And on Thursday, we're going to meet you back here at 11 o'clock, and we are going to discuss some of those challenges, see what you guys saw, and answer a few questions. So if you guys have any questions, be sure to list them right here, right now, and I will do my very best to get you the best answers on Thursday. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love that you guys come and join with us every week. It's been a blast. I will see you next time. Enjoy the sun.
Bye.